So let's pass your real estate exam, national and Texas state. So how do you do that? With practicing and practicing, lots and lots of questions and the answers, and of course, vocabulary. So let's get with it. This is Wild Lillie Hendy with YouTube Agent Prep, coming to you from San Antonio, Texas. So you're going to see the book that we're using, the Real Estate Sales Exam. It has 80 national questions and 30 state, and the state is for Texas. However, the national applies to all 50 states. And it's awesome, as always I say, because it has 4 exams, exam 1, 2, 3, and 4. And oops, what the heck did I do here? It has 4 exams with 80 questions for national and 30 questions for state. Well, let me go back. So let me see here. And so there we go. And it has math review. It has vocabulary. Here you see the real estate glossary. That's your vocabulary. Okay. And you've got the math review. It is an old book. However, it is excellent, you all. And not because I'm saying it, but because a lot of my students recommended it to me. And I'm recommending it to you. It also has a little test preparation system, lets you know about the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam, and a refresher course. Okay. It used to come with a CD. So this book is available online, free. Okay, it is called the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam Guide, 4th edition. Or you can message me and I'll send you a form so that you can complete and download it immediately. Or third option, go to the AgentPrep private group, Facebook, and you can download it. It is guide number 3. Under the guide tabs, it is there. Hi, Maria. Hi, Giselle. Awesome. You guys are ready, right? Or ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to, let's see. We're starting, I think, with question on the national, on the 4th exam. We're starting with question 51. So get your water, coffee, hot toddy, a beer, or whatever you like to drink, okay? All right, question 51. Hi, Lisbeth. Hi, Joshua. Awesome to see you all here. So if any of you are on Facebook, remember to give StreamYard permission to post your name, okay, on here. So you see it like Giselle, okay, you'll see it like Maria, Lisbeth, or Maria, Lisbeth, okay? So you'll be able to see the name instead of just seeing Facebook, okay? So I just put it on the Facebook and it should show up on here. I guess it didn't. So go to StreamYard.com/Facebook in case you're watching on Facebook group or Facebook Live. However, I would prefer if you would go to the YouTube channel, okay, YouTube Agent Prep, and watch it there and provide some support so that I can hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I need you all to help me. I'll be almost at 800 today. So awesome. All right, enough of that. Let's get with it. So remember to type the question and the letter answer when you're participating. So Carlos set up a trust for his grandson and placed several parcels of real estate in the trust to be managed by an appointed trustee for his grandson, the beneficiary. The transfer instrument used to transfer the real estate to the trustee was what? Okay, so Carlos set up a trust. Carlos is the grandfather, right? For his grandson, and put several parcels of land of real estate in that trust, who will be managed by a trustee. So whenever you see a trust and a trustee, there are 3 members to a trust. The transfer instrument used is called what? A, deed of trust. B, trustee deed. C, a deed in trust. Or D, a special warranty deed. Type your answer in the chat, and we'll be back with the answer. I would give it another try. It is not A, and I'll explain why. The deed of trust, that's like a mortgage. Okay, and he's not talking about a mortgage in this place. So take another attempt. It is not A. Okay, much better. Going to a C. It is a deed in trust. Okay, so several parcels of land are being put in a trust, in a deed in trust. The owner, the Carlos, is deeding it to his grandson in a trust. So there are three parties: the trustor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. So the Carlos appointed a trustee, right? So he's for his grandson, who will be the beneficiary, the owner. So the trustor is Carlos, the trustee is whoever he hired or appointed. So it is a deed in trust. The deed of trust, that's equivalent to a mortgage. Okay. And in the deed of trust, in the state of Texas, we use deed of trust. In other states, about 50% of the states use deed of trust. From central to west, central to east, they use mortgage. That's going to have the trustor, which is the borrower, the trustee, who is whoever the lender appoints, and the beneficiary is the lender. That's the difference between a deed of trust or deed in trust. Okay? Deed in trust is for family putting someone as a beneficiary. Deed of trust, okay, the difference is the of or the in. Deed of trust is a mortgage. Okay? So the answer here was 51C. So the mortgage is also considered a security instrument, right? So a trustee's deed will be used to transfer title to a property to the beneficiary at the appointed time. A special warranty deed transfers property from a seller to a purchaser. Well, there isn't a purchaser in here. Okay. Did I type the answer? I did. Repeat that, please. Hi, figuratively speaking. Okay, so the difference between A and C, deed of trust is equivalent to a mortgage. Okay, it is a security instrument. The trustor is the borrower who's buying a house. The trustee is the person that the bank appoints to be their trustee if there's ever a default. The beneficiary in that case is the lender, the bank. Deed in trust, it's when they're deeding it to a family member or someone that they want to become the beneficiary. Many families create trusts, okay, and it's called deed in trust. Okay, special warranty deed, that's when there's a seller or a borrower and the seller is conveying it to the borrower. Okay, a trustee's deed is more like at the courthouse, like a tax lien deed. But the trustee gets the deed when there's a lender involved, okay? Because they're the ones that are in charge of taking action if someone defaults. Got it. All right. Very good. So interesting name. Look at that. Figuratively speaking. So what is your real name? Let me see here. All right, so 51C. Yeah, this is a little challenging. The difference is of and in. Just remember that the of stands for a mortgage. Did in is trusting it to a family member. De Angela, okay. So when you see figuratively speaking, that's De Angela. Very good. Thank you for sharing. All right, number 52. That was an interesting one. I like that one. All right. A minor can rescind a purchase agreement because of what? A, he doesn't have any money. B, hold on, I meant to hide this. B, he is legally incompetent. C, his legal status in the court is adver, Italian, right? Or D, the other party to the contract cannot rescind the contract. So a minor can rescind a purchase agreement because, type your answer in the chat. Either on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are watching. I'm looking at all three. I've got 3 monitors going in case anyone has a question. All right, so far I've got 52D and 52B as in boy. It is not D. So give it another attempt. Okay, according to the courts, they consider a minor legally incompetent. So they're allowed to rescind a purchase agreement, even though there are some brilliant, youngsters under the age of 18 that are millionaires or billionaires, right? And however, they'll have to have an adult, there with them co-signing. So it's because he or she is legally incompetent and the other person is competent. Okay, they're an adult. So an adult is not allowed to rescind a purchase agreement, but a minor is. So the answer here is 52B. Very good. All right, 52B. All right, number 53. There we go. Okay, so 52 bis B. So failure to act timely to have a court enforce deed restrictions may result in the violations being allowed because of the legal concept called, so failure to act timely to have a court enforce deed restrictions may result in the violations being allowed because of the legal concept called A, non-conforming use, B, laches, C, constructive notice, or D, injunction. Type your answer in the chat. And here's where it really comes down to vocabulary. It is not C. Okay, so take another attempt. It is not C. It's a word you probably don't see much. Okay. So what do you think that might be if you don't see a word much? The answer is actually 52B, latches. I'm sorry, 53B, latches. So that is the failure to act in a timely manner to have a court enforce deed restriction, but they may result in the violations being allowed because of legal concept called laches. And I recommend that you go and you look up the word definition laches, okay? So that you are familiar with that definition. All right, number 54. Earnest money is entered on a closing statement as a what? A, credit to the seller. B, charge to the buyer. C, debit to the seller. Or D, credit to the buyer. What is earnest money? How does it show up in a closing statement, a closing disclosure? Okay. Which is also called the settlement statement. All right, so far I have 54D. Anybody else? So, you know, the buyer, right, sends earnest money to the title company, right? That's their money. So when it comes to closing, they're going to get what? They're going to get a credit. Earnest money is used to partially satisfy the transaction sales price. Okay, so it goes towards, you know, the purchase as down payment on behalf of the buyer. Therefore, it would be a credit to the buyer on the closing statement. Okay, not a charge credit, but, you know, a credit because they already gave that money. Okay. So 54. So it would be a credit to the buyer, right? And a debit to the seller, because the seller will be receiving the money after all the expenses are paid. But it is entered as a credit to the buyer. So we have to do the best accurate answer. Because in a settlement statement, right, both sides have to equal the debits and the credits, right? Gosh, my internet again is slow. Okay, so 54D. All right, number 55. I like that year. That was my birth year. All right, 1955 Chevy. I drove a 56 to school, a 56 Chevy. All right. A zoning commission may grant a variance to property use when which of the following exists? Okay, a variance, something different than what is allowed. And that is by the zoning commission, okay, the adjustment board, actually. A, over budget development cost to a subdivider. B, environmental concerns as to use. C, alternative building site that increase owner cost. Or D, limitation of feasible building sites due to land contours. So a zoning commission may grant a variance, something different that is what normally is zoned, to property use when which of the following exists? So one of them, you know, think about common sense. Over budget development costs. B, environmental concerns as to use. C, alternative building site that increase owner's cost. Or D, limitations of feasible building sites due to land contours. Remember, a variance is a change that is acceptable. And most of the time, they'll have to inform all the neighbors within a certain radius and have a public meeting in case anybody has any pros and cons. Nobody taking a chance on this one. The answer is 55D. A variance is a change in zoning requirements to lessen restrictions when building site hardships occur, such as this one, right? When there are land contours, right? Limited building sites. They might allow the setback to be smaller on the back or on the sides or on the front. So the answer is 55D. Has nothing to do with over budget development or environmental concerns, nor alternative building site. It's on that particular property that they want to have a variation from the standard. The only common sense one is that of the land tours. I'm sorry, the land contours, not the land tours. All right, number 57. See any questions? Nope. No questions. Okay, moving right along. 57. The economic characteristics of land are A. The economic characteristics of land are A. Scarcity, fixity, modification, and situs. B. Scarcity, non-homogeneity, immobility, and modification. C. Indestructibility, situs, fixity, and scarcity. D. Situs, fixity, scarcity, and immobility. So what are economic characteristics of land? So what can we do to land? What do we know about land? Oh, I missed 56? Really? Oh, yes, you're right. Okay, well, let's answer 57 and we'll go back to 56. Thank you, Giselle. So what are economic characteristics of land? Can it be scarce? Can it be fixed? Can it be modified? Is it called a situs? Or can it be scarcity, non-homogeneity, means there's no difference, immobility, you can't move it, and modification? C, indestructibility, situs, fixity, and scarcity? Or D, situs, fixity, scarcity, and immobility? 57A. That looks good. 57D, no. Okay, economic characteristics of land, it can be scarce. They're scarce. We run out of land, right? The more people grow, expand or have children and longer live lifespans. It is fixed. The land is fixed in a certain place. It can be modified. Okay, you can dig into it, you can subdivide it, and it is known as situs. That is the site, that is the location, not the address, but the site location. Okay, land can be destroyed, okay, by human nature or bombs or, you know, anything else. Situs is good, you know, fixity is good, and scarcity, but indestructibility isn't. On the last one, it's immobility, right? So situs is good, fixity and scarcity. Immobility is not. So it is scarce, it is fixed, it can be modified, and it is a location, a site. So it is 57A. Those you probably want to memorize. I mean, I don't like to say memorize things. However, that's probably one that you can, because it'll be confusing when they give all the different choices. You could say, well, it's land is destructible, right? So we cannot say that it is indestructible. And it's immobile. No, land doesn't really get moved. However, nature can move the direction of land from one piece to another. So yes, it can kind of be restructured. Okay. All right, let's go back to 56. Missed one. There we go. 56. Thank you for that, Giselle. All right. Number 50. So did you all understand that? That one, basically go and review it in your book or look it up on Google so that you understand, the differences for economic characteristics. All right, 56. It is said that a deed transfers title when the deed is what? A, signed by grantor at closing. B, prepared by an attorney and reviewed by the purchaser. C, handed to the purchaser or his or her representative. Or D, delivered to and accepted by grantee. So when is it considered transferred title? So when is the deed considered transferred? There's certain things that have to be met, not just signing of it, okay, but other things too. Sorry, typo. Hey, that's okay. Hey, look at this. She looks convinced. Maria seems convinced that it's D, 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 D. No problem. I do typos too. That's why I ask all of you to be awake and know that I can make mistakes too. Okay, there's quite a few on you here. So, go ahead and type your answer. Let me help you if you, for some reason, get it inaccurate, get it wrong. So the answer, it is D. Okay, so the owner, the grantor, is the only one that signs it at closing. However, it has to be delivered and accepted by the grantee, and the grantee is the borrower. Okay, the grantee is the person that is receiving. Remember, EE, receive, OR, giver, grantor. So it has to be delivered and accepted, acknowledged by the grantee. And in essence, it actually gets received in the mail. So the closing happens at signing, the grantor signs it, and the borrower gets to see it. So they get a copy of it at closing, and they accept it. But they get a recorded copy from the county courthouse at a later date. And so we all have to make sure when we purchase a property that we make sure that it has been recorded and it's under the new name. Don't take anything for granted. All right, so we're back on course. So we're now back on, we went from 55 to 57 to 56. So we'll now go to 58. Anyone who just came in, we are doing national questions on this particular book. Even though it says Texas, all study books pretty much that you buy include national. Everybody's national is the same. The only thing that differs is the Texas, the state portion. At the second half of the class, we will do state questions. And I'm getting ready to start purchasing books from other states, like California and Florida has lots of individuals wanting to take the exam. Texas, it's like the biggest. All right, number 58. So 56 was D. Okay. All right. A comprehensive listing agreement would address what? Comprehensive listing agreement would address A, the duties of the agent, commission agreement, and termination date. B, a copy of the advertising materials to be used. C, showing instructions, commission agreement, and termination date. D, commission agreement, duties of the agent, and payment terms. So think about this. Common sense. What would an exclusive listing include, be required to have? Remember, there's specific performance, there's payment, and there are timelines and all that kind of good stuff. So far we have 58A. Anybody else? Going, okay, we have 258A. Come on, there's more of you on here. Take your turn, type the answer in the chat box. If you're driving, of course, don't be doing that. But if you're at home or you're parked, type the answer in. All right. Yes, the answer is 58A. The duties of the agent, the commission agreement, right? Because that's negotiated between the broker and the client, and the termination date. When does it expire? Clients always want to know, or customers, okay, how many months is it going to be listed? Okay. In my case, I do 6 months. However, my dates expire June 30th or December 31st. And why is that? I learned from other top producing realtors. And that's because I only have to remember 2 dates. So let's say we get a listing in February. I still do June 30th, especially in this market. If I know it's a really slow market, I'll do December 31st. And then I'll put a disclosure, a disclaimer on special provisions that either party may terminate this listing in writing at any time prior to expiration. And then that makes the seller comfortable that they're not committed for, 10 or more months. So I like to terminate them June 30th and December 31st. And I have yet to have any issues with that. All right. So that'll be something you want to remember to use when you're doing it. It makes a lot of sense instead of having all these reminders. When you have a lot of listings and you're going to have reminders some January, February, March, April, May, every single month of the year. Oh man, it's like you could easily miss getting a contact with a seller to renew it, okay, before it expires. So June 30th, December 31st, awesome. Makes it simple for me and my assistant. All right, 59. And yes, I have a virtual assistant. She's in the cloud. All right. 59. A property is valued at $850,000 by an appraiser and generates an annual net income of $144,500. What capitalization rate percentage did the appraiser use in determining the value? So here you could use the T formula, right? To calculate what is the capitalization rate percentage. So get your calculators out. Or your pen and pencil or pencil and paper. So here you're doing it how? So you're in a T formula. Let's see, can I write notes on here? Edit. No, that's not the way I want to do it. Show height tools, the navigation, nope, tools. Send for comments. So for the capitalization rate, we're dividing the annual net income, divide that by the value of 850,000. Okay, which equals to a capitalization rate of, let's see if anybody got this. Somebody said DD. Wow, you guys are awesome. Yes, so it equals to 17%. So 144,500 divided by 850,000, right? So on the T formula, it's going to be, let me see, edit text, images, previous view. So you're going to have on top the part, 144,500 is the part. On the lower left, you have 850, which is the whole. And then we're looking for the percentage, which will be the lower right-hand side or lower left. So very good. 59D. It was equal to 17%. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, number 60. I like these simple ones, or at least the short ones, not a lot of reading. Which of the following is not, okay, not considered a building code standard? Which is not a building code standard? A, plumbing capacity of structure. B, exterior blueprint elevation. C, electrical insulation. Or D, smoke detectors. Not a building code standard. So think of what all houses have that has to be approved, okay, by building codes. Type your answer in the chat. Good, good. All right, y'all are doing good. Yes, building, the not considered a building code is B, exterior building elevations. I'm sorry, exterior blueprint elevations. Okay, the building codes are for plumbing, electrical, smoke detectors, gas lines, things like that. The building site itself, the structure, they have to get the blueprint, but that is not necessarily the building code. So there are a lot of building codes, and the inspector will come and check the plumbing, the electrical, make sure smoke detectors are installed or anything else before they approve and give a certificate of occupancy. And they come out at different stages of construction. So very good. You're doing awesome. All right, number 61. Oh, this is a long one. Well, not real long, but a little bit. Well, because I have to minimize it a lot. And that still didn't do it. Dang it. Okay, now we have it all on one page. All right, 61. Any questions? Okay, I don't see any on all the different sites. All right, Jake signed an option contract to purchase Zeke's farm and paid Zeke a $5,000 option fee for a 60-day option. Okay, so there's an option contract to purchase a farm, and Zeke paid $5,000 option fee. Okay, so, and it's due, and it's good for 60 days. Okay, so think of like the option fees in the purchase and sale contracts. Which statement is true? A, the optioner and the optionee are obligated to go through with a sale. B, the optioner and the optionee are obligated to close under the agreement unless an unfavorable environmental assessment precludes a transfer of the title. C, the optionee may exercise his right not to close and receive the option fee within the specified time. Or D, the optionee may exercise his right to close or not to close within the specified time. Hi, Rosaura. Good evening. Thank you for that. All right, so we're doing national. Anybody that just came in, and the national questions apply to all 50 states. So type your answer in the chat. Remember, when there's an option, right, neither is obligated to buy or sell during the option period. And this is a option contract to purchase at a later date, right, with the option fee of 60 days. And by now, you hopefully know that option fees are not returned. They stay with the seller, the owner. So far I've got 61D. D, anybody else? There's quite a few on you here. There's about 8 or 9 of you on here. Go ahead and type your answer. Hi, Elida. Thank you for joining us. Yes, you all are doing awesome. It is 61D. The optionee may exercise their right to close or not to close within the 60-day option, right? Very good. Awesome, awesome. Way to go, Lisbeth. Number 62. Okay, here comes another deed trust. Remember, I stressed about the middle word or the article of or in. Okay, so whoever was here with me, okay, those that just came in, you didn't get to hear it, you can go and listen to the replay. There's some other questions about deed of trust or deed in trust. All right, 62. What is a deed of trust? Okay. A, deed used to transfer title of real property into a land trust. B, a two-party mortgage instrument giving title to a lender until the debt is paid in full. C, a three-party mortgage instrument with a power of sale clause giving the trustee authority to conduct a non-judicial foreclosure if the borrower defaults. Or D, a three-party mortgage instrument that grants full title to the lender until the debt is paid and a release deed is granted to the borrower. No, it is not A. Nope, nope, nope. Remember I mentioned the deed of trust is what? A mortgage. 50% of the states from central to west use deed of trust. Central to east use mortgage. It's when a borrower is purchasing a property. And a deed of trust, what did I mention? There's a grantor, there's a trustor, a trustee, and a beneficiary. So how many parties to a deed of trust, to a trust are there? There are 3 parties to a deed of trust or even a deed in trust. And why? Because there's a trustor and a trustee. Okay? So whenever you see the word trust, there are going to be 3 parties involved. So A or B are not correct. It's either C or D. Trustor, trustee, beneficiary. Okay. Grantor, grantee, beneficiary. In the deed in trust, the beneficiary was the grandson, right? The answer here is C. Sorry to disappoint you, so let me explain why. Whenever there is a deed of trust, there is a non-judicial foreclosure. So it is a 3-party mortgage instrument with a power of sale clause, giving the trustee authority, and that trustee is whoever the bank assigns as the trustee, to follow the authority to conduct a non-judicial foreclosure if the borrower defaults. So whenever there's a deed of trust, it is a non-judicial foreclosure, meaning they do not have to go to the judge to get approval to do a foreclosure. And so whenever there's a trust, then that deed of trust is given to the trustee, and the trustee follows the instructions that are in the trust. So it's a three-party mortgage instrument. It has a power of sale and has the trustee, and it's for non-judicial foreclosures when the borrower defaults. The reason it is not D is because it says, yes, three-party mortgage instrument, yes. But it says then that grants full title to the lender until the debt is paid and a release deed is granted to the borrower. No. Okay. So the title is sent to the trustee. So the trustee holds the deed of trust, okay, and the title. Once it's, and they're the ones that do the non-judicial foreclosure if someone defaults. Okay. So yes, once the debt is paid off, the lender is going to provide a release of liens, not a release deed, but a release of lien. Okay, so that's another reason D is not correct. It says a release deed is granted. No, it is a release of lien. So the lien is removed from the deed, and so now it is a clear deed. And it is then provided to the borrower after they have paid everything. So 62 is C. Again, three-party mortgage whenever there's a trust, and it's a three-party mortgage instrument that provides security to the lender, right? It is the collateral to the lender. The property is the collateral to the lender, and it has a power of sale clause. So when the borrower defaults, that power of sale clause allows the trustee, typically it may be an attorney, a real estate attorney or an accountant that the lender appoints, to conduct a non-judicial foreclosure. All the instructions are in that deed of trust. If it is a mortgage, then it's a judicial foreclosure, and they have to go to the court to get the permission from the judge to do a foreclosure. Okay, so sale clause giving the trustees. Yes. So it's the power of sale clause, due on sale clause. Okay, so the trustee can force a sale on that property if that borrower does not come current. They are defaulted. However, that trustee has to follow the instructions of the trust and also of the state process of a non-judicial. Some states, like in Texas, after 21 days of default, they can start sending notices. Other states could be 4 months, 5 months, others 2 months, 3 months. Each state has its own laws, foreclosure laws, okay? So yes, Elida, you're right. So you see it now. You're welcome. Good. It is, you know, the non-judicial and judicial. Whenever there's a trust, it's non-judicial. If it's a mortgage, it has to go to the judge, to the court. It's judicial. Judge, mortgage, judge. Trust, non-judicial. It's a challenging one, okay? I'm almost going to skip 63. All right, 63. Any questions on that one, okay? Because that one is one that you want to go and understand about deed of trust. Learn the difference of deed of trust and a mortgage. They're almost the same. It is a loan, it is a mortgage, okay, that is provided to the borrower from the lender. However, depending on the state and whether it's a deed of trust or a mortgage, it has a different process to foreclose whenever a borrower is in default. And it has it also has instructions should the lender default or sell the note, because they are allowed to sell the note, right? There's a promissory note that goes with the deed of trust and a mortgage. Okay, what am I trying to do here? Okay, enlarge it. All right, so everyone okay on that? Yes. Okay, number 63, an offer. What is an offer? A, creates an agreement between the parties. B, becomes a contract when accepted and is binding when the acceptance is communicated. C, keeps the other party from accepting another offer until negotiations are complete. Or D, must be accompanied by earnest money. So again, pay attention to little keywords like must. Most of the time, it's not the answer, okay? When they have must, sometimes it is. If they all have the word must, one of them it's going to have to be. But if you have 4 different choices and one of them says must, then it's more than likely the wrong answer. Okay, so I have 63B, B. Come on, y'all. More of you. Lisbeth, Maria, and Rosaura are on the ball. Y'all are on a roll. Yes, very good. Awesome. Yes, the answer is B. It becomes a contract when accepted, and it is binding when the acceptance is communicated to the other party, right? So remember, it has to be accepted and communicated. Both parties have to be informed, right? So very good. All right, number 64. Okay, moving on. In which of the following types of agency must you see the termination of the agency relationship immediately after closing? Okay, so this, I'm sorry, I said must, it's might. Okay, in which of the following types of agency might you see the termination of the agency relationship immediately after closing? A, universal agency. B, general agency. C, sub-agency. Or D, special agency. Type your answer in the chat. Remember the difference of representing someone on one property or on multiple properties, right? Look at what universal is. Universal is like, oh my gosh, almost all the world, all the galaxies, everything is huge, huge. General is pretty huge. It's a little bit more general, right? And then sub-agency, well, substitute, right? And then D, special agency. I'm special. This property is special. So you all are doing awesome. Well, it's not general agency. Okay, in which of the following types of agency might you see termination of the agency immediately after closing? So immediately after closing, it's going to be more than likely a special agency. It's one particular property, be it land, commercial, residential, acreage, lots, new construction, condominium. Okay, it is one. It's a special agency. It's specific to one property, and that agency ends at the end of the closing. A general agent is going to be like for a property manager. Well, there isn't necessarily one closing that ends the agency. They could have multiple properties and property managements, right? Universal is a lot broader, and they have been given more rights like powers of attorney and more broader, okay, than general. Typically, we're using general and special. Special has to do with one, and that's when the only thing that doesn't go away is confidentiality. Okay? But the agency relationship ends at closing, immediately at closing. However, you may have clients that'll come back years later and say, did you save this document? I can't find mine. Could you help me out? So yes, I always save documents. I have backup copy on my computer and with also the broker. So, special agency, or let's see, the answer says short-term agency relationships. Okay, general agency, universal are not. All right, 65. This will be the last national question for the evening. We'll have done 15. So any questions? Everybody did pretty good on that one. All right. The right that a power company acquires in order to lay a service line across a customer's property is called what? An easement in gross, B, a license, C, a condemnation, or D, a restrictive covenant? So what do utility companies, how do they have access to properties? And they must have access, right? Because they can't go and repair them if they don't have access. They can't repair the power. They can't repair the water lines. They can't repair the gas lines or whatever, phone lines, internet, okay, all that kind of stuff. Although internet and TV service, those types of things, they have to come in the house, right? So you have to give them right. It is not D. The right that a power company acquires in order to lay a service line across a customer's property is called not a restrictive covenant. Restrictive covenant has to do with subdivisions that have tighter restrictions than the county or the city code. It is easement. Power companies have easements. All utility companies have easement in gross. They have the right to enter at any time. So 65A. They don't need a license. It's not condemnation. They don't own the land. So it could be the alley. It could be your land. However, if there isn't any access to getting to it except through the alley, then that alley cannot be fenced. Even though it may be the owner's property, it cannot be fenced because should they ever need access, they're going to tear down the fence and it's on your cost. Well, it depends on what kind of fence, right? They better ask permission also. However, usually the zoning says you cannot put fences up and things like that. But they can't just come over and destroy your property. For example, I have a brother that has acreage, and so did I. Well, they came over and they wanted to start taking down forest trees from their land and just leave a mess to access. Well, he didn't put the trees there, right? The trees were already there. But the land is his, and so are the trees, and the trees could have value. So they can't just come and start destroying everything. The owner can say, hey, I'm going to clear the path for you to come in. If it's an emergency as nobody is there, well, unfortunately, you know what? They're going to do it the way they want. However, they may have to deal with consequences of how they trash the property. Okay, they can't just go and bombard and ruin the property. Everyone has to follow certain, rules and laws and stuff, right? Because it impacts the value of a property. However, easement, they all have that right. Okay, so we covered, we're on chapter 4, not chapter 4, exam 4 on this book. It's called the 4th edition. It is free on the internet. It is also free on the Facebook group AgentPrep that you can go to guide number 3 and download it. Or you can request it from me by filling out a form and you can automatically have access to the book and download it. But I recommend you look for old books. All books pretty much are going to have national, and that applies to everyone in the US, all 50 states. The state portion, of course, is going to be different. So I'm in Texas. I cover Texas. Very few YouTube channels or schools cover Texas only. They cover a lot of different other states, or they charge. So I cover Texas. Okay. And that's what we're going to do next, but we're using a different book. So take a moment, break, stand up, stretch your leg, get some water, and we'll be back to start section, I think it's test number 2 with a new book, practice test for the Texas real estate exam. So I'm going to stand up for a moment. So anyone watching the replay, you can just fast forward and get started with the state test for Texas. And remember, whenever you're studying, okay, you know, when I'm doing it, we're taking long sessions, okay? When you're studying on your own, take a break every 20 minutes. Okay, if I were to do this here, you know, it's going to take forever. And on the replay, you can do that, right? On the replay, you can study for 20 minutes, take a break, get up, do some breathing, do some stretching, you know, 2, 3, 4 minutes, and come back and study again. And why do I say that? I learned from Jim Quick. He's a gentleman that had a life incident that impacted his brain. And he says, we remember the first portion and the end portion of all study session. And that's what he recommends, to do short sessions of 20 minutes. Okay, so this is another good book. It doesn't have vocabulary, but it has 4 practice tests. Okay, it has the national portion and the state portion, and then it also has answer key for national, answer key for state. Those are the kinds of books that I like to purchase to use in class. And I actually like even more those that have vocabulary. But there's a lot of free vocabulary online. Okay, you don't have to pay for it. There's a lot of it that is free. Okay, so we are starting with number 16. So any questions before we get started? Oh, I got to change the... Any questions before we get started? Oh, and those of you that are on YouTube or anybody that's watching, remember this is YouTube Agent Prep with Wild Lillie Handy. So go to the YouTube channel, okay? Click that little bell so you get an alert right away, okay? Subscribe to my channel. Help me grow to 1,000 by the end of this month. Tell your friends, tell your other students, anyone that is studying for real estate or is learning how to get going with their real estate business. Let him know, help me get to 1,000 by June 30th. I am at almost 800 today. And so remember to also to like this video. If you find it beneficial, click that thumbs up, all right? I've got 3 thumbs up so far. And I guess that's about all that's on here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Provide that support. Love it, love it, love it. All right, ready? Your Texas cap. Here we go. What is the name of the disclosure form required by the licensed agent who is representing a party? A, property disclosure, B, home disclosure, C, seller's disclosures, or D, disclosure of representation? Type your answer in the chat. The disclosure form required by the licensed agent who is representing a party. No, it is not the seller's disclosure, Maria. So take another attempt. So anybody who just came on, we are doing Texas state questions and answers. The first half of the session was national questions. All right, number 16 is D, disclosure of representation. Okay, property. So this says, what is the name of the disclosure form required by licensed agent who is representing a party? So it doesn't say they're representing already on a particular property. So it is not property disclosure. Property disclosure or home disclosure would be kind of similar unless this is just land. So home disclosure, no. Seller's disclosure, that's the seller that has to disclose on the property. It doesn't say here whether it's a seller or a buyer. Okay, it just says representing a party. So that is disclosure of representation. Okay, which would be the buyer's buyer tenant rep representation, right? And disclosing the information about brokerage services. So 16D. So we had Giselle, Joshua, Lisbeth, got it right. Good. So you all see why it is not property, home, or sellers. It says an agent, licensed agent, and representing a party. Doesn't talk about a certain type of property. First, we have to represent the party. Then we start looking for properties, right? Right. Right, number 17. Caught that. Awesome, Elia. Good. Which contract forms are salespersons and brokers required to use by TREC? And who is TREC? Texas Real Estate Commission. A, information about brokerage services. B, promulgated contract forms. C, seller and buyer contract forms. C, seller's disclosure forms. Which ones are salespersons and brokers required to use by TREC? Right, you have a whole course on it, right? A whole book that you study, 30 hours. You can't see the question. Okay, let me see here. I can't remember how to remove the banner. Because I don't normally do that. Let me see here. Banners, brand. Okay, I'll take this off. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, I took that off. I can't take the other. Okay, so you should be able to see the majority of the question there. Okay. Can you read the question again, please? Which contract forms are salespersons and brokers required to use by TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission? A, information about brokerage services. B, promulgated contract forms. C, seller and buyer contract forms. Or D, seller's disclosure forms. You take a whole course on it. A whole 30 hours. Right? It is promulgated contract forms. Okay, that's the forms that we have to use by TREC. So the answer is 17B. Wow, this is responding. All right, number 18. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Number 18. Much better. So 17 was B. Which statute protects consumers against deceptive business practices by sellers, including real estate agents who act fraudulently? Which statute? State law, right? Protects consumers, right? Normal, everyday individual against deceptive business practices by sellers, including real estate agents who act fraudulently. A, Texas Business and Commerce Code. B, Homestead Exemption. C, SB 489, or D, Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Okay, there's a whole bunch of you here watching the Texas, so I ask you to participate. It's for your own good. If for some reason you miss it, I'll explain why. So let's participate, okay? Don't be shy. This is not the place to be shy, because you don't have that opportunity in the exam. In the exam, you can't be shy, right? You have to do it. So might as well do it here and find out that you did. All right, 18D, D. Dog, dog, dog. And yes, that is the correct answer. Deceptive Trade Practices Act. Very good. All right, number 19. Let's see if I can make that a little bit larger. When a person dies without a will, blank laws govern how property passes. Without a will, without within, okay, without a will. A, intestate succession. B, non-agency. C, canon of ethics. Or D, trella. When a person dies without a will, what laws govern how property passes? It is not D. D stands for what? Texas Real Estate Licensing Act. That is not the law that governs how property passes when there is not a will and a person dies. So one of my students says he remembers it without, within. Within, without. In, okay, within has the in, without a will. So intestate succession, okay, that is without a will. Intestate. Very good. Oops. So think about it like that. Within, without. You've got to find the word in and without. Without a will, intestate. Helps me remember it because I used to forget which was which. So don't feel bad if you don't remember it, okay? Hi, Angela. Thanks for joining. Meant to click 19AP. Yeah, you got it. 19A. All right. Ella did a typo like Lillie does sometimes. All right, number 20. Which of the following is a part of the broker licensing requirement? A, 2 years of experience. B, 21 years of age. C, college degree. Or D, 900 classroom education hours. Which of the following is a part of the broker licensing requirement? So you're going to say, well, heck, man, it's not 2 years of experience. So which of the following is a part of the broker licensing experience? Not sales agent, okay, but broker. Okay, how can you get a broker license? You need more than 2 years of experience. We know we can be 18, but a person's going to be over 18, right? Because we have to practice real estate for 4 years, so it'll be 22. And then take all the courses and make sure we close enough hours. I mean, enough types of different types of transactions. Doesn't necessarily require a college degree, but it'll help because it'll allow 670-hour credit or 630-hour credit. They need 4 years. 21 isn't. You were right. 21 isn't applicable. Very good, right? Because 18 plus 4 years will be 22. So we know that one's not right. And you can have a college degree, but it won't be sufficient. So they can waive, when you have a college degree, they'll waive 630 hours. We still need another 270. Well, I say 270 because I was going to get mine, and I had 180, right? Plus 90 would have been 270. Okay, plus 630 totals to 900. So I was going to get my broker license when I was doing it in Texas. I said, well, I just might as well have it because I was a broker in Oregon. I don't need it. However, should I ever decide that I want hi, Charles. I didn't say hi. Thank you for joining us, Charles. Then, so it's 900 classroom education hours. However, that's not sufficient. You still have to have points for doing residential properties, acreage, farm and ranch, commercial, all those different types of properties have to have points, a certain number that you have to do. So that's why they say at least, 4 years of real estate. Oh, I put D900. Meant to type 20D. Guys aren't watching me. You got to watch me. You got to keep me straight. This is a two-way street. I help you. You help me. I watch out for you. You watch out for me, right? Yay, yay, yay. Oh, you can't see me waving, right? I was waving in the background, but you can't see me. I was going, yay, yay, yay. All right, number 21. I like to show my face a little bit because sometimes I do some weird stuff. To keep it a little bit active, I like to have music, but not everybody likes music. Music livens me up. Oh, man. Making it a little bit smaller. Okay, there. No. Okay, I'm going to have to take me out of the picture here. All right, number 21. TREC, Texas Real Estate Commission, know your acronyms, requires a licensed broker who is presenting a party or is listing real property under an exclusive agreement to do which of the following minimum services? Okay, I stress certain words, right? Exclusive, listing real property, exclusive agreement, minimum services. A, inform the party of any material information related to the transaction. B, present offers to and from the party. C, answer the party's questions. Or D, all of the above. So TREC requires licensed broker who is representing a party or is listing real property under an exclusive agreement. All right, moving right along. Type your question number and answer letter in the chatty chat. Okay, there are many of you on here. I could say there's 20, but there's 10 of you here or 11. That's a good size class. Sometimes I have up to 20. 21D. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Gone. Yes, it is all of the above. Inform the party of any material information relating to the transaction, right? Any material defect that's important to either party to make a decision. Present all offers to and from the party. Answer the party's questions. And so all of the above are valid, right? Very good. All right, number 22. An unlicensed assistant may do which of the following? An unlicensed assistant may do which of the following? A, perform clerical duties. B, negotiate earnest money transactions. C, show properties to clients. Or D, conduct substantive discussion with clients. So which one may they do? Doing good. Keep it going. Keep it going. Type those answers in the chat, either Facebook or YouTube, because I stream it to 3 different places. Let's see. Joshua says, oh, how come? So Joshua says 22A. Let's read his comment. They cannot do anything that includes business in regards of real property. Correct. So no discussions about anything about real property. If it is public information, like how many bedrooms, that type of thing, or the address, okay. But no earnest money transactions, no property showing, no substantive discussions. Clerical duties, okay, give information that is public, okay? It's best not to do any of it to, in case you don't know, don't do it. And make up set appointments. They can do that. Clerical duties, right? Very good. Good comment, Joshua. Thank you for that. All right, number 23. Okay, can I show my face or it doesn't? Nah. All right. Okay, which of the following can cause a license to become inactive? Inactive. A, failure to conduct real estate transactions for 30 days. B, selling personal property. C, failing to renew the license within the allotted time. Or D, buying property out of state. Which of the following can cause a license to become inactive? There are certain things we can do that it won't make it inactive, okay? But there's definitely one that we cannot do. Right? Right. Keep it going. Come on, y'all. Type your answer in the chatty chat. Let me help you, and you help me. All right, everybody's saying 23C, 23C. You're on a roll. And that is correct, 23C. Failing to renew the license within the allotted time. Oh, you know what? Last week I made a comment and I said, you need 90 hours plus 18. You'll need 90 hours plus the legal update 1 and legal update 2, which is an additional 8 hours within the first 2 years that you get your license, right? And that sales apprentice education are 90 hours. And then the 8, legal update 1 and 2, those are mandatory, right? Right. All right, number 24. Texas Water Code requires blank if property is located in a certificated service area of a utility service provider. A disclosure to the buyer. So Texas Water Code requires blank. A disclosure to the buyer. B, an additional contract regarding the responsibility of buying a home in that area. C, both A and B. D, none of the above. So Texas Water Code requires blank if property is located in a certified service area of a utility service provider. No, it is not. Let's see, what do we have? C, monsieur, oui, oui. It is not C, both A and B. It doesn't require an additional contract regarding the responsibilities of buyer. It is typically a disclosure, kind of like the lead-based disclosure. Just things that have to be disclosed. HOA disclosures, mandatory, things like that are disclosed. Disclose. It's not an additional contract. It'll be either an addendum or a disclosure. So the answer is A. So those of you that answer C, an additional contract is not required. Okay. It is usually an addendum or a disclosure, HOA documents. Okay. So it is a disclosure to the buyer. Got it. All right, number 25, moving right along. Texas law allows a minimum of blank days to cure a default of a foreclosed property before notice of sale can be given. So Texas allows a minimum of number of days to cure a default of a foreclosed property before notice of sale can be given. No, Texas is a very tight state. Okay, so 90 days is going to be too long. If there's ever a default, they can start sending out notices at 21 days. So minimum, and this says days to cure a default of a foreclosed property before notice of sale can be given. Should almost say pre-foreclosure property. So the answer here is 20. That is the minimum of days to cure a default. So the borrower will be given a notice, okay, of 20 days to cure it. So in the state of Texas, once they are default for 21 days, the lender can start sending out. So the trustee, right? The trustee is now following the deed of trust instructions and take actions according to the deed of trust. And they'll start sending out notices at 21 days. So minimum allows of 20 days to cure a default. Okay, 25A. Let's see what the answer says. So the answer says a notice of default and intent to accelerate must be sent to the borrower, which notifies the borrower of the minimum of a 20-day notice. Quasi-judicial law is required for foreclosures on home equity loans. So you'll want to study a little bit on your foreclosure. I mean, you don't get too many of these questions. However, you may get one. So what? I want to make sure I type the right answer. Okay, number 26. A bank is not going to wait 90 days or 60 days for you to be in default and say, hey, you owe me money. More money. I want more money, right? Give me my money. They loaned you money. They want it back. So not 90 days, not 60 days. In Texas, minimum 20 days. And at 21 days, notices start to go out. All right, number 26. Which form is required when selling property that shares a common boundary with tidally influenced submerged lands of the state? So what form is required when selling property that shares a common boundary with tidally influenced submerged lands of the state? A, addendum for authorizing hydrostatic testing. B, addendum for backup contract. C, addendum for flood risk property. Or D, addendum for coastal area property. So tidally, you might have a tidal wave. Okay. Tidally influenced submerged lands of the state. No, it is not the flood risk property. Okay, look at what it says. Which form is required when selling property that shares a common boundary with tidally influenced submerged land? So what is tidally? Like a tidal wave? You have waves. Influenced and submerged land. Some of the land in the ocean, okay, on the coast is submerged, right? And it boundaries the state, like the Gulf of Mexico, right? So the answer here is coastal area property, 26D. So key word is they have a common boundary. A flood risk property doesn't necessarily have a common boundary with tidally influenced boundary coastal area that could have tidal waves or a tsunami, right? Like in Japan or Hawaii or the Philippines or other areas that are small islands, right? And submerged lands, right? Under the ocean. That boundary, the state of Texas, the Gulf Coast is one, right? The answer was D, addendum for coastal area. And that is one of the addendum that you'll see on the 1 to 4 residential family contract, resale contract. You'll also have it on commercial land if it's by the coast. All right, number 27. Y'all get that? Some of you were saying flood risk property. No, that's different. it's not bounding an area that could be influenced by tidal wave. I know the way that it's worded is a little tricky. Oh, I've got to minimize that a little bit. Oh. Oh boy, let's see if I do that. Oh no, can't. That's not going to work. Okay, there we go. 27. What is a short sale addendum? Short sale doesn't mean that the sale is going to take a short time. It's a different meaning. Definitions. A contract that involves a home sold at a lower value than the balance of the seller's mortgage loan. B, the sale of a home where the buyer wants to sell the property quickly. C, when a home is sold to a buyer who is paying cash. Or D, when a buyer needs to take out more than one mortgage to buy a home. A short sale addendum. It's not a sale that takes a short time. So type your answer in the chat. Moving right along. Hi, Denise. Thank you for joining us. And yep, we're doing Texas State questions. Yep. How y'all doing tonight? Are we all doing good? I am. Okay, let's see. So far, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 individuals answered. 7 out of 10. That's pretty good. Okay, the answer is A. A short sale is a contract that involves a home sold at a lower value than the balance of the seller's mortgage loan. And this happens during the pre-foreclosure phase. We can list a property for a homeowner that is potentially going to lose it because they are in default. So in the state of Texas, man, we're going to have to act quick, right, to sell that property. So they got to know in advance that they're going to be able to go and they're going to be going into default because we only have 21 days before they start getting notices. So the property would be selling for less money than what they owe. That is a short sale. The loan is shorted. So the lender is the one that will either approve or reject. Or counter, okay? They have the same choices as any buyer or seller. Very good. Number 28. So let's see, who said B? The sale of a home where the buyer wants to sell the property. Nope, not that one. I mean, yeah, you would think it makes sense, right? It's short, but that's not what it means. Go back and study your vocabulary. This is when I know that it tells me that individuals still need to learn vocabulary, okay? And very few people are watching the vocabulary videos, although there are a lot of other YouTube channels that have vocabulary. And I'm one of the best, right? Mine's the best. Not just kidding. Okay. There's another very good gentleman that does it, Prep Agent. Okay, he's awesome, Joe Juder. Let's see here. Number 28, okay? What is the definition of a broker? Here, look, wow, glossary, vocabulary. What is the definition of a broker? Not a sales agent, broker. A person who manages the construction of new property. B, a person who buys property and rents it out to tenants as the landlord. C, a person who sells, leases, or exchanges real estate property. D, none of the above. All right, so far I have 28C. Oui, monsieur, 28. 28C. Yes, I always tell people to subscribe to you and Prep Agent. Awesome, Joshua. Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, he's been doing it longer than me. And I should have done it long before. I used to do it just on Facebook, all right? And I used to use some of his videos, the vocabulary, at the beginning of all of my sessions. So he got a lot of views and a lot of time. So thank you for that, Joshua. All right, I've got 28C, C. Yes, 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 C. If you speak Spanish, and I speak Spanish. You may not know, but I am Latina. It's Wild Lillie Hendy Dominguez, right? My dad is Dominguez. My mom is Hendy. And I'm the wild child. All right, let's see. So C, a person who sells, leases, or exchanges real estate property, right? All of the above is what a broker does. A person who sells, leases, or exchanges real estate property. They don't necessarily manage the construction of a new property unless they are a contractor, okay? And they own the subdivision. Some brokers are. And they're not necessarily just a buyer who buys property and rents it out. Instead, that would be an investor, right? So C is the accurate answer. Can you explain the exchanges, real estate property? Okay, exchanges, real estate property. So individuals might want to just exchange, one property for two other properties. It still requires a contract. Okay, so there is an exchange. There is a buying and a selling for one property to another. So they sell property, they lease properties, they also help buyers buy properties, okay? So it's not just sales, but they sell or buy, they lease it, or they can exchange real estate property with other buyers or sellers. Because some individuals, there's what is called the 1031 exchange. So with a 1031 exchange, an owner that's selling a property, they're going to have to identify 3 other properties that they are going to want to purchase within a certain time frame. So we do 1031 exchanges, but they have to go to an accountant to make sure they can do that. But that has to be disclosed whenever a buyer or a seller is doing a 1031 exchange. Okay, that is just one of them. Okay, 1031 exchange. So did I type the answer? Yes, 28C. Yep, got it. Awesome, very good. So Giselle said, yes, there is a 1031 exchange. So that's one type of exchange. But buyers and sellers could just be exchanging one property for another, plus cash. All right, number 29. I need to change the resolution. Let's see if that'll work. That didn't work. Oh man, I'm gonna have to go small. Let's see here. Okay, there we go, 29. Yes, it was 28C, Rosaura, very good. There are 2 types of real estate licenses in the state of Texas, the broker license and the salesperson license. Which statement is true about the licenses? A licensee cannot hold both a salesperson license and a broker license. B, the broker license is applicable in all states. C, a licensed salesperson can act as a broker. Or D, a licensed broker cannot act as a salesperson. So which one is an accurate statement? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, so far we have A. Y'all have been awesome tonight. Thank you so much for participating. I'm so glad that you all do. I want all of you to pass, and I want you to have a successful real estate business. Okay, there's a whole bunch of you here. Come on, more of you type an answer. So far, just 6. All right, going once, going twice, gone. Yes, 29A. A licensee cannot hold both a salesperson license and a broker. They're one or the other. Right? It takes more classes and 4 years of real estate practice before being able to take the broker exam and become a broker or property management, right? They'll have to take property management courses. So 29A, licensee cannot hold both a salesperson license and a broker. However, a broker can be like a salesperson, right? They represent buyers and sellers, okay? But they have more authority, more education, more things that they can do, and they can sponsor salespeople. All right, number 30. Oops. There we go. I'm going to show my face now. Okay, blank is when a broker misstates information about material property. Blank is when a broker misstates information about material property. A, liability. B, misrepresentation. C, valuation. Or D, mutual recognition. Less than 48 hours. Okay, I'm not following you about less than 48 hours, Joshua. I missed something. All right, so far I have B. Blank is when a broker misstates information about material. Oh, he takes his test in 48 hours. Oh, wow. Did you say that earlier? Awesome. And yes, the answer is B, right? Misrepresentation. Oh, okay. It's less than 48 hours before Joshua takes the exam. That's right. You had mentioned to me that you were taking it this week. Awesome. So first of all, the answer for 30 is B. Misrepresentation is when a broker misstates information about material property. If it's with intent, then it is illegal. If it's accidental, that's not done with the intent to have malice. So, oh, I see. So he had said it on Saturday. Right. Got it. Yeah, I had one student that told me, but I don't think he was in class. He took it Monday and he passed. So you're so good, Giselle. You remembered he told us. So what times is the live over tonight? Actually, it's about to be over, Maria. So what we did was we did 15 questions national, started at 6 p.m. and that ended almost about 7 o'clock. And then we took a little break and we started Texas state questions. Okay, so we've just done 15 state questions, and that's usually what I do, 15 national, 15 states. Unless I have an obligation, then I'll do 10 and 10. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I want you all to pass. So how are you going to pass? As I said at the beginning, practice, lots and lots of questions. Okay. Practice, practice, practice. Oh, by the way, I changed my hair color. I went to a reddish blonde. Okay. Goes along with my colors, my branding, red and black. Okay. I could have gone black, but that'll require more coloring more often. So let's see. Oh, you're very welcome. She says, I appreciate your time and help. It is fun. I have fun. Okay. I enjoy this. I would probably have more fun if I had music going on and I'd be dancing because I love to dance. All right. And so learn your vocabulary and questions. Yes, Giselle. Do you think regarding the FAQ on track will help? Frequently asked questions. Yes, maybe, but I think if you study review questions, okay, from prep books, because the frequently asked questions are going to be a lot of general questions that different individuals ask, okay, on track. So I would focus more on prep books and the videos that are on here, okay, for the national and state. And then there is a section just for state if you only have to take one of them. Giselle says, hey, hot mama, look at that. I went reddish blonde, okay, from the just yellowish blonde. Thank you, Giselle. And study the vocabulary from any prep book that has vocabulary, or download it. And it's actually on my YouTube channel under the vocabulary section. There's a lot of vocabulary on there that I've been doing for years, except on YouTube just since November of 2020. Do a lot of the questions. You're very welcome, Denise. I am Wild Lily Handy Dominguez, okay? And for those of you who recommend me on other YouTube channels or to other students, I thank you for that. I greatly appreciate you. And you're welcome, Rosaura. And Joshua, you're welcome. So I wish you the best on the exam. So remember to skip the first 5 questions and the math. All right. Those are typically the hardest. Get individuals nervous, get anxious. Okay. You want to start off on the right foot. Click the first 5 and math for review and go answer all the ones that are easier and you feel comfortable with. Anything you start getting stuck on, click it for review, come back to it later. Sometimes a future question will help you answer a past one, you know, or vice versa. And do that on each exam. Let's see, Giselle says, this is fun and very effective. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You're very welcome. I have fun too. And then when I start doing other types of videos to help you get your business going, I'll be even funnier. You're very welcome, Lisbeth. Love you all. Thank you for the comments. Remember to go to YouTube, AgentPrep, okay? Tap that subscribe button, okay? And tap the like button and click that little bell so you're one of the first to get notified every time I go live or I upload a new video. Remember and affirm, I passed, I pass, I pass. Ask, believe, and receive, okay? And you will get it done. So remember that I'm also a realtor. I'm with eXp Realty, and I was told to state it more often by some other students, and I forget to, mention it while I'm doing the class. So I'm also a realtor with eXp. I am looking for students, realtors to join me once you pass your exam. So let's talk about eXp after you pass your exams, because you're going to be interviewing with a lot of different brokers. You want to find the one that is best suited for you. And many of us move around, okay? I have. So even if you join one, you can always move again. Don't worry about the cost of the marketing material or things like that. You usually get 1,000 free business cards from most brokers, but you want to go with one that's going to offer a lot of education and training, a lot of current technology and mentoring. All right. So with that said, have an awesome night. Love you all. And until next time. Catch you later. That'll be on Saturday.